Hello, my friends. How are you? Well, I've been playing a lot of Diablo 4 recently with my girlfriend in local co-op, and it's one of the games that I have the most mixed feelings about in all the game history, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna go over two of the things that I really liked, and then I'm gonna go over the things that I disliked. Stick around. Live chill and video games. So, one of the first things I've noticed and I really liked about the game is the graphic and art direction. This is indeed Diablo 4. It has that distinct Blizzard aesthetic with very much detail of the graphic. Everything is very detailed. The characters, the world, every little detail is very well thought of and envisioned. It really looks like that world of Diablo, that sanctuary that I've seen in the other games. I'm a really big Diablo fan. I've played since Diablo 1 in the 90s. I think actually it was the 80s on my 386 PC. It was like it had like 20 frames per second at most, and I really liked and played the game then. So even from then, I could see the game was very detailed and it has that Blizzard aesthetic and a bit of dark atmosphere as well. So that's very well made in Diablo 4. No complaints about that. It was a really good graphics, good atmosphere. It looks like Diablo and feels like Diablo. So big thumbs up to the graphics and art direction of the game. One of the other things I really liked and noticed immediately was the very cool gameplay. So it's like a proper action RPG should be. It has like a fast gameplay, and everything feels crisp when you hit the enemies. When you level up, you get like a lot of meaningful skills that immediately have an effect, and the gameplay overall is good and is challenging as well. But although it is a bit challenging in the first like 10 levels, then it begins to feel too easy. Mostly like it begins to feel like almost like a walking simulator if you play on normal. So on story mode, it begins to feel a bit easy if you play on normal. Probably if you play on expert difficulty, then it will be more challenging. I haven't tried that. I said I'll try the normal mode and play it on normal first, and this was good at the beginning. It was challenging, but then it got a bit too easy. So that's one of the things I did like, but I didn't like so much that it becomes so very easy at the end. I mean, you just go over through the bosses and the fights that don't feel meaningful after a while. The boss fights, you just go and you win everything. But overall, the gameplay is good, and maybe if you start on an expert difficulty, then it will be more challenging for you. The other thing I really liked was the co-op gameplay, especially the local co-op multiplayer. It's really nice playing with somebody like your girlfriend or a friend if you have someone to play in local co-op. It almost feels like an arcade-ish game that you play with somebody, and that is really, really nice to have. And so few of the big AAA games these days have this local co-op multiplayer. So really well done, Diablo, on that part. Well, the other thing I like was the items. So the items were like very cool items. You find things that help you along the way, and then you find like really cool items that do like surprising effects. Like I found one that was keeping my form as my werewolf form or my werebear form, because I played as a druid. It was keeping my form locked in, so I wouldn't change back to a human, and that was pretty cool feature, and very surprising. Many items have that wow factor, like whoa, I found a really cool item that I really enjoy, And this is something to appreciate in an action RPG like that, because you want to find things that wow you. You know, then you don't want to just find things that improve your stats for a bit and you get better and better. You want things that go like, wow, this has like an awesome effect, and I'm so tough right now with this item, and everything changed. My gameplay experience changed. And regarding this, yes, Diablo 4 has this element of wowing you with the coolness of the items. One of the other cool things in this game is the build complexity of the characters. So I'm one of those guys that also plays board games, and I like to, make a deck of cards of a trading card game, and build my decks and build my things around my character like it's a deck of cards. So you can create like cool and different builds even in the same class. For example, the druid you can play with spells, or you can play with a werewolf build or with a werebear build or something in between. And the game has a lot of things that synergize and gives you items and skills that you can create like dependencies on each other and things like that help other stuff out. So it's really good and complex in this regard. I've even seen some action economy, which is actually one of the words I learned in the miniature games. So this is basically like you being able to use as many skills as possible in a time frame. So not just the ones you have on the lower bar. So there are items that activate some other skills and help you with casting skills faster. So this one is really cool. So regarding strategy and the build complexity, the game does a really good job, and I really had fun with it, especially in the later game when you find more complex items and you can make like 2 or 3 builds of the same character. Builds that you can save. You have a place, the armory, where you can save your builds, and that is really really cool because you can save your build as well, not make it again from scratch. You can switch from one build to the other. One of the other things I've enjoyed was the story, kinda, because the story is cool. It has that same Blizzard cinematic feel, and it really keeps you going. It has a bit of a mystery as well. It makes you want to finish the game, but it also kind of feels like sort of a side story. I mean, the main primevals barely appear in the story. They are more like referenced. Everything is centered around Lilith and her quest on preserving, and in a way preserving, in a way corrupting Sanctuary. The story is really well made in the sense of grayish morality of what is happening. So sometimes it feels like Lilith is right, but she seems so evil as well. So it makes you wonder who is actually right about this and who is wrong. This is really well made in the story. And yeah, it's a good story, but as I said, it kind of feels like a side story. Maybe now with the expansions, they will go somewhere more concrete with it. And now I'm going to... These are the things I really liked, and overall I really enjoyed the game. Especially that I played with my girlfriend. But now I'm going to go through what I really didn't like about it and what gave me the mixed feelings. Kinda, the conclusion of my was of mixed feelings. I'm still wondering now if I really like this game or not. Although I enjoyed it overall. So one of the things I didn't catch on at first, although I knew it was online and I knew it was more players who are allowed to enter your game session. So at first I didn't like this. I didn't like that you don't have a proper single player mode. I mean, I don't like games that are always online, because they kind of force you to be online. Maybe if you have a problem, you don't have internet, or you play somewhere where you don't have internet access, then you can't play the game. But I was willing to put up with that. I understood it's like protection against piracy and all of that. I was willing to put up with the fact that you get unwanted players in your session. I mean, you don't interact with them so much, but if you're fighting a boss, for example, with alone or with your friend or with a girlfriend, you don't want to have somebody else beating the boss with you. You want to experience that for yourself without somebody intruding in your boss fight. But I was willing to put up with that as well. But what I really didn't like is that it's a full-on live service game, and I didn't caught on with that. So until one of the seasons, like in League of Legends or in the Defense of the Ancients kind of games, they have seasons now in Diablo 4. Maybe I should have informed myself better beforehand, but I really didn't knew it was a live service game, that it had seasons. So when one of the seasons passed on and I discovered that it literally modified our items we had in the stash, so the attributes of the items were different. The special abilities of the items were different, so it literally modified our whole game, and it really felt like it's not my game anymore. Like it is on a server and they modify it as much as they want. I mean, it keeps your items from the last season of the game. So for the ones who are not familiar with seasons in live service games, it's basically like a period of time where the game is in a way, and then when they add like another season, they change things in the game. They change how some abilities work, and the way it was in MOBAs, like in League of Legends, they were changing also like heroes and abilities, and this is the way they have done it now in Diablo 4. They actually changed a lot of abilities and a lot of attributes of the items in the game. So it really feels like it's not your game anymore. You own nothing, and you're not happy. Yeah, so I really didn't like that when I've seen they changed. With the new season, they've actually changed all my items. They indeed leave your items from the last seasons as legacy games, but they actually changed their attributes, so they weren't the same items anymore. So that felt like crap. One of the other things I didn't like is that, as I said before, it's like on story mode, it's mostly like a walking simulator. If you don't play it on a harder difficulty, so you actually get a lot of difficulty, but it's on the end game, and indeed it has a lot of end game going on, although it gets a bit of grindy and repetitive in the end. But you get that strategic feel and the challenging gameplay, but you get it in the end of the game, and it has a lot of end game. That's one of the the things that has going on for it. Although it's very, it's a lot, it's repetitive and doesn't respect your time, and you feel like you have to do a lot of farming to get some items. And one of the other things that I didn't like was a lot of info in the game is a bit unclear. So I had to. It has like sort of like pop-up tutorials and stuff, but if you don't read each and every one of them, you can. I mean, I took a lot of time to figure out what the occultist does, or what the purveyor of curiosities does exactly, and where do I exactly save my build. If you're really, maybe I wasn't paying attention to all of the pop-in tutorials. If you really pay attention to those, maybe it's not that confusing, and maybe that was my fault. But I felt it was a bit unclear as information. In a way, the fact that is also, I mean, one of its greatest weaknesses becomes one of its greatest strengths in a way for Diablo 4, and that's what I was saying. I have a lot of mixed feelings, because indeed the fact that it is a live service game and that they update it all the time and that it has a lot of end game, I think it was one of the games that has the best end game content out there, the most end game content as well. So you can have fun even if you finish the story, and that's a big that's a fun thing actually. And the fact that it also changes things, although I didn't like it at first, it does help keeping things new and interesting, you know. So for someone who likes enjoying his game and getting his money worth of the game, you know, this is good in a way. I mean, the fact that it's a live service game, although I didn't like it, but it helps keep things fresh and interesting, you know, and makes the game a lot more replayable. And what I really didn't like, and I really don't support this trend, especially in AAA games and especially in Diablo, is that it's very heavily monetized. So it feels like it feels predatory, the way the shop is made, and the way it also tries to convince you all the time to spend money and just on things for your look, when those things could have been made to be found and unlocked in the game. You know, not to force you to go through your wallet all the time, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of heavy monetization, and I really didn't like that. You know, all of those looks could have been made to be found in the game, or there could have been like expansion packs that added some of the looks. You know, I don't mind a bit of you know, I get that there's an expansion pack that gives you all these looks, but asking you for microtransaction for every bit of customized look you want to have, that's very predatory. I didn't spend the time on this game. It has, I mean, except for buying the game, but it has some things that it gets you, like that currency, the platinum. It gives you a bit of platinum from within the game as well, but only a bit. You cannot buy more expensive things like cooler costumes, and it has some sales sometimes, but it's not even close to being cheap, you know. It's very expensive to buy that platinum, and yeah, no, that's not for me. If I hope they sometime release a full version of the game that has all of the content for it, because I don't agree with these microtransaction things. So yeah, in the end, I mean, it was a lot of, you know, negative, but you know, I did enjoy the game, and it was really fun to play it with my girlfriend. Should I say I recommend you Diablo 4? Yes, I do, but you have to know what you're getting yourself into. You're getting yourself into a live service game that also has some story, and that also has a lot of bugs, because I forgot to mention that. There was one bug that I remember when we were playing on PS4, because we played on PS4, and then at some point we buy the PS5 and we transferred the account and kept playing on the PS5. There was a bug on the PS4 that only player 1 was getting the experience from quests, So a lot of my girlfriend was player 1 and I didn't get a lot of experience in the end of the game up until some point, I don't know, up until level 50 or something. We started, or 40 or 30 or something like that. Only she was getting experience, so that completely ruined the game for us for a while, because only one of us was getting the experience and there was nothing that we could do. When we passed to playing on the PS5, they actually fixed this bug. And there are many more bugs, but this was one of the most game breaking, you know. So yeah, I mean, I did like the game, but I'm imagining like an alternate reality where this game would have been single player, like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 was. Diablo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I really would have appreciated if Diablo 4 was more like that, you know. But all in all, it's a nice game, but I definitely would have wished for something else. I mean, if you're a Diablo fan, you will go for it, no matter what I tell you or a review tells you. This is not actually a review; these are just my thoughts on the game. But yeah, it's not. I mean, it does feel like it's sort of like a sellout Diablo in a way that it's very heavily monetized and all the time online. So I get what a lot of players didn't like at about it at all. I mean, I thought about if I'm going to play when I've seen that is structured in those seasons. I thought about if I'm going to play some more, but I got over that. But yeah, you know, it's a good game if you know what you're getting yourself into. Well, that's what I had to say about it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to my video, and please subscribe and share my videos. Subscribe to my channel and share my videos. Thanks. Have a nice one, guys.